Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening to all our listeners. Those of you who listen to us, who make this your diet on evenings and listen to us on the subway, going to Brooklyn from New York. Those of you who are in Miami and listen to us regularly, and Texas. Those of you in Trinidad and Tobago who are in your vehicles and tune in regularly on this program and sometimes eager beating up the car because you really want to argue with us, which is good. Good evening, and good evening also to the owners and managers of this great radio station. This is the Third Empire Show, and today, like all other evenings, we have a very great show, and we will not disappoint you this evening. So, as you know, this show is the Third Empire, and on this show, we analyze what is in the news. We bring things that can help the country move forward if they are listening to us, those in power, and we also introduce, or we bring to you, very, very great personalities who can sometimes solve some of our problems in Trinidad and Tobago in their own personal sphere. We are independence is upon us. We are not very old nation, but we certainly have a lot to look forward to still, and therefore it is very, very important that you listen to what we have to say this evening. For some time now, we've been talking about the issue of crime, how we solve crime. School is about to open. We saw what happened in the last few weeks in the last week, I should say, with the successes Trinidad and Tobago in particular have had with education and with CAPE exams and that kind of thing. And we've heard a lot of the students who would have been monumentally successful in CAPE spoke about what the reality is with respect to education and how they feel about what students should look for and what they should do, and how they should probably traverse life in schools. Today we have with us a psychologist, a social worker who has a lot of years in the education system, 10 plus years in the education system. And she's here also with me is Miss Seymour, or should say Dr. Seymour Sandyford. And also Miss Sharon King, who is a social worker. And we will be talking about an upcoming webinar called Beyond the Backpack. And it is a lot more than, as we were talking behind the scene earlier, it's a lot more than, your students are carrying a lot more than a backpack. Mm-hmm. They are carrying a lot of load behind them when they come, and that invisible, that virtual backpack that we talk about. Yes. So I would like to introduce our co-host today, Miss Sharon King. And Sharon, you can probably introduce yourself and tell us what exactly is in the backpack, or what is expected to be in those backpacks of the students coming back out to school shortly.
Thank you so very much for hosting me this afternoon. My name is Sharon King, as has been said, and I've been working as a school social worker for a decade plus.
Okay.
And when, after conversations with Samoya here, looking at what we could do as parents, children begin to put things in place to head back out into the schools, I thought of what happens beyond the backpack, because I remember as a parent myself, as a young parent, you are looking at the books, uniform. Mm-hmm. Those are the things you put a lot of effort into ensuring that the child has everything. Transportation, what you're going to be preparing for breakfast, lunch, dinner, whether you're going to look at extracurricular activities that children would engage in. Mm-hmm. Back to school the focus in back to school has been heavily weighed on that side. And many of us focus there. However, apart from that visible backpack that we see, that we ensure is filled, there's an invisible backpack that children take to school.
And what is that? So, I mean,
What are some of those things that children take to school that we are unaware of or we don't see? We can't see it. Children grow up in communities. They grow up in homes. They have interactions virtually and otherwise. A lot of activities take place within those those spheres. But what are children taking away from that? Some children go to school very fearful. Fearful of what? As we continue, as we go into the webinar, those things would be made even more plain so that we could see. But they carry fears. They carry a lot of anxiety. Some children, they face family conflict. They face community violence. They face violence within their homes. They have peer relation issues that shows up in the cyberspace many times, or even physical space.
sometimes we'll give account to bullying and all that kind of thing.
Yes, right? Uncertainty about what do I do next as they continue to develop. So while we look at those issues there, yes, children also carry hope. They may carry resilience. They still also carry their dreams, what they want to see for themselves. They carry, some of them, love and belongingness. But not all children carry all of those things. Yeah? So that is what we are going to be spending our time looking at in the webinar. So when we prepare the backpack, because that's where we put a lot of our focus, how much time do we really spend as parents in preparing the child who's carrying the backpack?
And that to a large extent is critical, because I just want to throw my mind back to an article I read in the newspapers. I think it was last week, Monday or Tuesday, where a boy and a girl who would have been among the top performers in Cape, and they would have spoken about their experience, and one of them was co-parented because one of them was from a single mother, and the mother was living somewhere down Barpo, I think it was. The father was living in Sangi Grande. And she spoke about how important it was for her father to be around also, because he was always around, he was always there, although the mother and the father had their problem and the divorce from very young. But she said that he was always there for her sister and her. And she spoke about the importance of that parenting. And the young man who was very successful in Cape also, I think he got 7 1s and 1 2. He also spoke about his family relationship. Mother and father. His mother is a vice principal. His father is I think is a principal in the same school, I think it was, and he's also a pundit or something like that, right? And he spoke in glowing terms about his parents, among other things, that ability to multitask and to place. He was very very big in football in school. So he spoke about every opportunity to play football during you know, his study times, and but he spoke about how difficult it was because to a large extent, a lot of people don't understand or don't appreciate or don't even know how difficult it is, what kind of transition is like cognitive dissonance from CXC to CAPE. It's a big jump. It's like just leaving CXC and just going to university. Right? It's a whole difference in studies and workload and that kind of thing. So to a large extent, there's a lot of coping has to take place, and a lot of understanding, and a lot of multitasking, and a lot of being able to divide your time and work within that to get to be successful. And they spoke about that, but the biggest among them was family. And we always say on this program, if we really want to deal with the situation of crime and that kind of thing in this country, we really need to address the family. Right? Because we have, strangely, especially among black people, and I'm saying this without unreservedly, because the statistics shows that you have a lot of single parents, and for all kind of reasons. But even if you can't make it in that kind of way, you can still come together to co-parent your children, because your children need you, especially. I mean, sometimes you, as kids, as young people, we waste a lot of time in school. We play the fool. We're not understanding how valuable it will be after you leave school. Some people fighting, you see, want to kill the government for the opportunity to go back. But you waste that when you was there. That is 5 years of your life. It just kind of... So some people doesn't understand that. But it's interesting that you have this webinar talking about beyond the backpack, and really there are so much psychological load children carry, and some of it ends up in the classroom, some of it ends up in bullying, some of it ends up in all kind of situation. And it will be interesting for you to hear what you have to say to parents, especially in light of what I would have said and what the students who would have been successful in CAPE would have said.
Sharon, so as we mentioned, the parents, because it becomes difficult to manage situations as children get older. So what would you say to parents, especially persons who are parents for the first time and they're going through these different phases, in terms of the need for a community to help raise that child? Everybody has to work sometime. Parents leaving early in the morning, they coming back late in the night, and of course it's easy to be accused of not being there for your child, especially when the child starts to act out. How, what's the approach as a social worker that, what do you say to parents like that who just don't have a choice, they have to work?
Parenting didn't come with a manual. There's no handbook for parenting.
Wow.
Parenting, how we parent has been handed down to us. And many of us, because I'm a parent, so I've been in these situations as a single mother and parenting, and how do I choose the community that supports me and who understands my needs, my children's needs? For some parents, that's not simple and easy based on where they come from or what they have experienced. It's not very easy. School is a good start. So you would see, as we continue into the webinar, we are going to look at this beyond the backpack, look at parenting and all of these issues from an ecological systems view. What's happening with the individual?
But what do you tell parents in particular, especially single parents? What could you tell single parents, especially mothers, because they bear the brunt of it most of the times with the children, right? What could you tell them as a mechanism to remain stable or to keep your child stable in the system? Because it's really not easy. I mean, most people work for minimum wage in Trinidad and Tobago, and minimum wage is like paycheck to paycheck. So you can't make no mistakes. And if you don't have a a stable other partner
Correct.
with income, it becomes even more difficult. And then the next thing is, sometimes single parents sometimes have to rationalize between their own ambitions, their own aspirations, right?
Yeah.
And parenting, right? So you see that all the time. For some reason, I mean, I don't want to say this, but the statistics show it. If you look at PTAs,
Yeah.
you look at PTAs in the normal secondary school, and you look at PTAs or parent meeting in the St. Mary's and the other schools, you will see it's a big difference.
Yeah.
I had a son going St. Mary's and another daughter going Tranquil.
Yeah.
And I was able to very quickly understand the dynamics of both of them. The thing is, at Tranquil, you have 900 and something students, but you have 15 parents coming to a PTA meeting. In St. Mary's, you have a little less than that, and it's like 3 parents coming to a parent day meeting. Traffic jam and all that kind of thing, midday. So what's the difference? Why is it that we are not understanding as parents the need for, or single parent, the need to put that extra time and that extra attention in our children, or is it that we just don't have what it takes to do it?
The response is not simple. To say that persons don't have an interest sometimes, while some can look at like that, I wouldn't say that just like that. Example. You are working in a minimum wage employment.
Yes.
PTA or parents meeting is at 12 o'clock.
No, that is in the big schools. They have it middays.
Or in other schools, 10 a.m., 9 a.m.
Okay.
You would that's when you have to come in.
Yeah. You can't
You
leave
have
that.
you can't. That's
Correct.
a day pay you lose
So
with threats that you're missing days and you may not be able to remain in the employment.
And this might be a good time for us to talk about the conversation we had here.
Yep,
Because
yep.
what kind of intervention could the government make here to address that? Because some people have time off for when they get pay. Some people, could the government put something like a day for every child you have, at least 2 hours a month or 3 hours a month for PTA or parent meetings?
Yeah.
Could they legislate something like that? I'm just saying, because I mean, some kind of intervention have to take place
That's right.
to.
I want to go back to COVID. During COVID, we survived a lot of things.
Yes.
Coming out of COVID, we remained with you could do in person for some, and you have online for others.
Yeah.
Why can't we make those types of arrangements? But even in making those arrangements, one of the challenges that we had during COVID, a lot of parents had the cheaper phones. A lot of the government services use Teams.
Yes, and it was very difficult to make
Zoom
that.
is easier
Very much
for
easier.
other parents to
Yeah.
log in. They were not getting on because of the, I think it's the bandwidth or
Yes.
something. It was too large
I still
for them
experience
to
that.
be
Yeah.
on their phones,
Wow.
right? So we talk about parents not coming. Let's look geographically. You living in a far end of the country area, just not to call areas,
Yeah.
names of areas. Your school is centralized in some other part. The logistics, and you probably have 3, 4, 5, 6 other children to
Correct,
leave
correct.
that area.
Correct.
To come to a 1-hour meeting, what do you prioritize? And you would have started addressing that there are many things to consider.
Correct.
What do you prioritize as a single parent?
Yes, and you see, it's a lot of things, a lot of diverse elements
Yes.
in this whole thing, but it all boils down to education, the delivery of it, and also how our children access it, and how our children internalize it
Correct.
to make a perfect citizen. And that's the challenge, because everybody, we say education is free in this, we like to say that education is free in this country, and we like to say everybody get the same education, but it is not. It's like listening to what's his name, the guy who said all animals are equal but some are not equal than others, some are more equal than others, right? But George Orwell, and really and truly, all are not equal in the education system.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
And sometimes it is sometimes based on our own doing, personal undoing, because sometimes we don't plan our family, we don't do certain things the way to commensurate with what our opportunities are or what we have available to us. And we end up in a situation where we have 3, 4 children, 5 children, and we are among the poorest. So it means that even if it was available to us, we may not be able to access it.
Yeah.
Then what should we do, like what places like China and Singapore and all these places do in terms of planning out the system and controlling family and all that kind of thing? Is it, I mean, something has to happen, because now we are seeing it is escalating in ways, and crime and that kind of thing, in ways that we can't control it.
So, you talked about planning your family. Was there a discussion with a 14-year-old when you say planning the family, and the father of the child is nowhere in that age bracket necessarily, or probably? How is that planning your family?
Well, I don't know. I mean, everybody had to listen to us and try to figure it out. But the thing is, at the end of the day, I mean, a former prime minister said, listen, I'm not in your bedroom. I can't tell you how to deal with, who to choose with, and how to choose your man or your woman. But at the end of the day, people just have to think. And maybe, you all as social workers in the schools and that kind of thing should probably start having those kind of conversations with young people.
And those conversations are being had with younger people. And the invisible backpack, how does that impact the fear, the anxiety, all of those things? How is it impacting on the child, on the choices that children make?
But the invisible backpack was always there, right? I mean, before we had the village raising the child, now we have less of that, because things have changed a lot. You can't beat her and you can't hit her, and you know, a lot of change, and parents are more husband and wife working now, and you have less time, but you have the village still not taking care of children. So your children on their own for a significant period of time. So your children, you put them in school, like a daycare for them. For some parents, school is a daycare, you know. Right? We just put you in school, and when you come home, right? But the thing is, that invisible backpack you're talking about, you will have to probably explain that, because it really not much different, but it's different from what was there before. And if we talk about the psychological challenges that young people have, and there are a lot, and you spoke about it a lot about it earlier on, that is how people rationalize their experiences at home and the family challenges that they may have. This is young people I'm talking about. How they rationalize and the experiences in school, bullying and that kind of thing. And some children sometimes don't even want to go to school, but they have to go to school.
Correct.
Right? They don't want to go to school because they fear going to school, you know, all those kind of things. And it boils back down to the social workers, the teachers, the principals, the security. Everybody have a role to play.
Everybody has a role to play. Yeah? And so when you look at that invisible backpack and you look at what is school readiness, that a child is prepared to successfully engage in the learning process, right?
Yeah.
And then you have the domains of school readiness. You have the emotional readiness. Can your child identify and express feelings?
Instead of acting
What's the
out,
language? Do they have the language?
That's correct.
Have they been taught the language to identify what these what these things I'm feeling here?
But the parents,
I know when I get it.
the parents say no.
But some people don't even talk about it.
They do, maybe, do they know how to speak about
Exactly.
it? And those are
Very,
the
very good
conversations.
Exactly.
we are
So that is the
opening up.
that is the conversation you want to have with them.
Yes, how do we open it up? Our children, what about cognitive readiness?
Correct.
Right? Can the child focus?
Yeah.
If you are coming, so let's say, for example,
This is a nice conversation.
you
You gotta bring it back.
you are coming from an extremely violent community,
Yeah.
right? Gun shooting the night before. What they taught you when you're hearing gunshots and it hitting galvanized and thing, duck under the bed somewhere you are hiding. You leave there, there's violence within your home. You leave that community, but you leave in a particular time, so you get to school early, you might be walking over. And I have known children and parents. A woman just the other day told me where they lived close to this basketball court. And she was a teacher at that time, taking her children to school, her teenage children, and had to walk over the dead body so that they could leave to get to school. Right?
Trauma.
And they
Aye.
cognitively, being cognitively ready, you have to be able to focus. How do you focus? As a child, right? Can you problem solve? How do you engage in this learning process? What about social readiness? You're coming from communities. I know there are families where you keep your children inside.
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't want them interacting with anybody. Can the child interact effectively? Do they understand, or do they know how to communicate well? Do they understand what cooperation means? How do we cooperate to get things done?
Yeah. Yeah.
Do they develop positive relationships? Are those children, when we look at physical readiness, do we take into consideration their health?
That's right.
That they exercise, that their nutrition, what are they eating? Pap soup? What are they getting from that? Do they have a balanced diet? What's the finances within that family? Whether it's two
Right.
parents, single parent,
That's right.
whatever. What's the finances that's coming into that family? Are they eating well? What are their health needs? Is that being addressed? Do you take your children to their doctors or the clinic appointments? Probably where the clinic is from where you're living. Probably. Just say it.
Yeah.
So there are a number of things. So there's not a linear, a easy way to get from point A to point B. Is this straight line?
Yeah.
Because we are looking at the dynamics within Trinidad and Tobago. We're looking at how the world dynamics is impacting here. So look how things have changed across the globe in many countries. What is the direct impact on children, families, communities in Trinidad and Tobago?
Wow.
Let's look at unemployment. How many children will not be going to school September the 8th?
And as she
Yeah,
said
yeah,
that,
and
I
those
want to
are-
remind us that we had over 35,000 children this year who skipped SE and CSEC exam. We don't know the full cause, but the fact that they were absent, this is a very important point.
So we have a lot that we look at, right? Physiological readiness. Do children feel confident to step back out into the school? Those who are
Yes.
returning, or those who are now entering formal education, are they confident? Do they feel safe and
Yeah.
secure and valued? That my mommy, the people I walk amongst, in my community, that they value me as a, a good, nice girl, boy, student? What do they value me? Am I capable to get those things done?
You're asking a lot of hard questions.
Stephen?
But the thing is, that cannot be answered by parents alone.
That's where I was
That's it.
heading, sir.
Right?
That's it.
Yes.
Those questions cannot be answered by parents alone.
Correct.
First. And second, there might be some of the answers in what the government is attempting to do right now. I had the opportunity to look at not a program, I look at a YouTube video this morning where they were bringing, I think it's Plumpy Boss and I don't remember their names. What's the next one name?
Young.
The two guys who just sing
people.
Trinidad music and that
Trinidad.
kind of thing.
Sorry
And
to
to
say
some
gang,
extent,
so Trinidad.
some people feel that they would have influenced a lot of the gang-related activities over the last few years. And as a matter of fact, one of them was shot.
Wow.
And a lot of their compatriots were killed over the years and that kind of thing. That's the 6th and the 7th and the numbers people. And the Minister of Homeland Security was saying that he was happy that they are coming to, as a matter of fact, they were part of the initiative to bring them back together and to try to, this new initiative to bring everybody together and stop the violence and thing. And in my opinion, some of the legislation, like the parole legislation and that kind of thing, to me, that will resonate and it will assist a lot. But one of the things they talk about is a back to school drive, books in each community, and I think they've said that they would have gotten over, I think it's over 10,000 applicants, and the ministry have donated a lot of money for it. And other than that, they have other people in the community donating and that kind of thing. So maybe that might assist in some of the areas that you spoke about there. But clearly, there are areas that parents and parents only could deal with. And it will be interesting to see how parents deal with those areas, because you see those conversations, you see all those value system and all those things. To me, only parents could do it. The government could only do so much, but the government also have a big role to fill, and with a lot of things to do to solve some of those problems, because we are seeing maybe an incremental decrease in what the barometer we use to measure crime in Trinidad and Tobago is murders. So we are seeing an incremental decrease in murders. Sometimes it might flare up, but it kind of like flaring down right now. But I don't know if that is because of any specific thing they have done or doing. I don't know if it's luck, or I don't know if it is something they are doing. But clearly, those issues that you talk about here are critical to bringing those numbers down.
Because you mentioned that the groups are coming together and they're purchasing books, and that's the invisible backpack. Ensuring that. The heavier load is what's in the invisible backpack.
Yes.
How do we, and to be able to assist our children, to support them effectively, it takes all of us working together, a collaborative approach to support them emotionally, support them so that they're physically ready, their health, all of those things. And you asked, what can parents do at home? And sometimes it's the simplest things. One, create for children predictable routines.
Predictable routines. If you're listening to us, call us. You need to write these things down.
That's right.
Especially if you're a parent of young children or children in school-age children. Predictable routines. Yes.
Your same bedtime. What time you get up in the morning? What do you do when you get up?
Nice.
And I remember
We had that when we were small. When you were small, we had that. You had to be in your bed by 9 o'clock.
Yes. When you get home, what do you do with this device?
Yes, exactly. Cell phone and that kind of
Put
thing.
it on the table, everybody's device. That includes mommy and daddy.
You know,
Yes.
what about your parents having your password and thing?
That have to be a must.
That's
In this age,
Dr. Simoya.
that is
That
a
have
must.
to be
I
a
don't have no
must.
privacy in my house, Stephen.
You can't close no door on me.
Close one door. No, we have to instill these boundaries because there's a lot that parents don't know about. I don't know, young people find very creative ways to communicate with us without us knowing what they are talking about.
And Miss King is saying, that's what Miss King saying, yeah. You have to know, you have to socialize your kids.
yes.
And part of the socialization is those predictable routines.
That's correct.
The children know exactly what to expect. You get up at 6 a.m. This happens. You make your bed, you brush your teeth, you do those things. And I was going to say, I remember having this conversation with Samoya, Love and Logic parent.
Yeah.
Let me hear
These
this.
are the
Let me hear this.
created. Oh, my daughter was so every time I spoke to another parent, she said, "Don't listen to my mother, don't listen to my mother." You have a Bristol board, a sheet of Bristol board. I remember when I did Love and Logic parenting, I came home with Bristol board and markers and stuff. What are the things that's necessary for this house to run effectively? And my two daughters, they went up, they wrote, what do we need to do? Wash the dishes. Do, all the chores that needs to be done, and spelled it out, every single one of them. And when they were finished with all the things that they thought was needed, I started to write, pay the rent, light bill,
Right.
doctor, transportation, school fees.
Like you.
That's
Yes.
And what do you think you are able to do here?
There.
Yeah.
And it ticked. Wash the dishes. And then so when will you be washing the dishes?
Let me have some depression right here.
We spell it out.
That's it.
What?
Include them
And
in the process.
yes. And and then when I learned Love and Logic, it was simple, a little envelope at the end of the week. We negotiated.
Yeah.
My younger daughter got $5 at the end of the week. Ooh, that's big money, right? At that time. The older one got 10. Where the dishes will be washed when? They said, and we will determine whether, and I have to accept it, right? So you have two choices with Love and Logic because children deserve a choice.
Yeah.
You're going to do it immediately or at this time, and if you don't do it at this time, what?
What happens?
Yeah, and we worked it out.
So
and
you still you believe in as a sociologist spanking?
I don't necessarily. I believe the rod because spanking looks at what the Bible says.
Those spare the rod and spoil
Those
the
spare
child.
the rod and spoil the child, but the rod wasn't used. When you look at David and Christ, the rod was used to keep the in line. It wasn't used to beat
It's to protect.
the lamb or the sheep. It wasn't used for that. It was how we support children and help them to navigate and to steer them in the right direction. But coming out from that Love and Logic, it was like, okay, you wash it at this time, or you can wash it first thing in the morning. And my daughter was like, yes. And I said, first thing in the morning is 1 minute past midnight. And she did not expect that was first thing, because when she did not do it, at exactly 1 minute past midnight, I was like, the dishes.
Yeah, the dishes.
And
Because
she was-
cockroach and rats, you don't encourage that in
She
your
was
house.
horrified. And the dishes was washed all
Correct.
she did it correct in the time that she determined.
You know, one thing I take from my parents years ago, hundreds of years ago, is that don't ever leave home without making up your bed.
Yep. Yep.
You know, up to today.
I still make it because you never.
Wherever time I going outside, I'm making up my bed.
And they had to bring them
You know,
home.
so all that is very, very important
Yeah,
in
yeah.
socialization, because
That's
children don't forget things even when they get older,
That's
Correct.
right?
Correct. Good and bad things.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, our next thing that parents, daily emotional check-ins.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
instead of, how was school? What was something fun that happened in school today? The child tells you more than when you say how was school good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
According to the age.
yeah.
Teenager might say,
Good.
yeah.
Good, nah?
And they move on. But you push a little more, but it make it more emotion.
Yeah.
You know, how did you feel in your first class today? Something like that.
Yeah,
Validate their feelings. That's why they
Yeah.
don't know how
exactly.
to name it.
And that
feel
is, that resonates because that ends in other places, even in relationships.
Yes.
You know, you don't know how to express your emotions and that
Yes.
kind of thing. You want to beat your woman, you want to
Yes.
all kind of different things.
Yes.
It ends in that. And sometimes, yeah, but we coming to the end of this hour. But
Okay.
you know what I wanted to ask? You are a social worker in school.
I was a social worker.
What do
in
you
school.
think about social work? I mean the need for it in school, and do you think that the government may or should look at that in particular and probably even increase the amount of social workers in schools to be able to deal with the issues that we have today, as opposed to probably just putting more police and all that kind of thing?
Based on the increasing types of issues impacting on our children,
Mhm.
I am going to say yes. Social workers take a different or ecological systems view of what is happening with a child.
Mhm.
It's not just good, bad. This, you're not supposed to do that. We find out, we inquire, we look at, we assess what is happening with this particular child, this situation.
It's a case by case.
Yes, our
Mhm.
interventions are targeted specifically to, while social work does preventative work,
Mhm.
we also do the curative aspect. But we need to understand what is happening. It's not that the child coming to school and misbehaving. What is underlying the behavior?
Right.
And that's what you fix. If you don't fix the underlying reasons, the behavior will continue.
So tell us how one can access that webinar, because it is important. We're coming up to the
Yes,
top of the
yes,
hour here,
yes.
and
So the webinar-
and
So
you know
let me
people
do it
want to
really
know.
quick. This webinar, first of all, it's a free webinar. It is going to be on my my Google Meet is shared on my social media page at Coach Samoya. It's Thursday, the 4th of September. Again, Thursday, the 4th of September. And we are doing it at 7 p.m. We will hear a lot about it more on
So
this
they're
page.
going up on Coach Simoya's.
Yes. I will
Right.
share my information as well for people
Right.
who need.
Excellent.
But she is our
Excellent.
guest. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yes.
So Sharon King,
Yes.
it was really, really nice having you here today, and I am sure parents, if nothing else, that predictable routine, if nothing else, because we learn from that. All of us here, we learn from that, and there are things, as I would have told you, there are things that we remember still and still do, even as adults.
Yes.
So parents need to log in on that Coach Simoya's website or link,
Yeah.
and
we will share that with
and we will share that from time to time.
Yes.
In the meanwhile, we go for a break, and we come back after the break.
You've got bills to pay, and so do we. Let's go pay some bills on the street 919 FM.
Peace of God be multiplied unto you in the precious name of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. This is Redemption Hour, a gospel program where God will reveal His mind to you on how to live a fulfilled life and to please Him in all areas. Join Pastor Femi Afolabi, the National Overseer of Deeper Christ Life Ministry, Trinidad and Tobago, and other seasoned ministers for a time of divine encounter as they minister and pray for you every Saturday by 9 o'clock in the morning of this station, Street FM 91.9. Our church is Deeper Life Bible Church, number 1 Cochrane Street, opposite Tunapuna Police Station, Tunapuna. The times of our services are as follows: Sunday worship service, 9 a.m., Monday Bible study, 6 p.m., Thursday revival hour, 6 p.m. The redemption hour is a life-changing moment you cannot afford to miss. For special prayer or counseling, contact Pastor Femi Afolabi on 778-9933. God bless you as you listen to this program. Jesus is Lord.
KFC onion rings, bring the sauce, Come to the crunch like a boss, Add a ring, show me onion ring, in your ring, ding. Show me your onion ring, it's a ring, ding. Yes, it's a brand new thing called onion ring. Level up your order. Onion ring, chicken sandwich full of flavor. Add a ring to your twister. Somebody better go and tell the neighbor.
Show off your ring at KFC with the new onion ring chicken sandwich for $34.95, or get a regular side of rings for just $15.
Add a ring in your ring, ding. Add a ring, KFC onion ring.
KFC, show me your ring.
TechFlex TT Limited, the #1 computer store in Trinidad and Tobago, has all your tech needs. We have the latest computers, powerful MacBooks, and affordable Chromebooks for school and work, providing new and refurbished options to suit everyone's budget. Also, we carry a variety of printer options and ink solutions for your home and office needs. Need repairs done? Our experienced technicians can solve your tech problems. Visit us now at any of our 2 locations, Wilson Road, Scarborough, next to Royal Castle, or Penco Street, Montrose, Chagonas. Call 235-4919 for more info. TechFlex TT Limited. Affordable tech. Exceptional service.
Blessings in the wonderful name of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. You are invited to listen to the Final Hour broadcast, heard every Monday
from 11 p.m. to 5 a.m. in the morning on the Street 919 FM.
Hear my mom, Pastor Helen Garcia, and myself, Pastor Valentine Garcia Jr., preach the Word of God to the elderly, youth, and children. We can be contacted at 629-0113 or 623-8444. The church is located at 26 Prince Street in Port of Spain. We look forward to you joining us. God bless you.
As my life I lay it on the altar, as my life.
It's KFC in the cricket. Crunch up that crunch, crunch up that crunch, crunch up that crunch. Do it in the KFC way. Crunch up that crunch, crunch up that crunch, crunch up that crunch. TKR all the way. Inside the way, bring in the energy. It's chicken for all the way. KFC got way. When we come out to play, nothing can bother way. Winning is part away. TKR all the way.
Grab your maximum crunch bucket today with 6 pieces of chicken, 1 regular popcorn chicken, 4 regular sides for only $144.95. Crunch after crunch with KFC.
Share the live. Share the live. The Street 919 FM on Facebook and Instagram. Share the live. Iowa George on Instagram. Share the live. Iowa TV and Street TV on YouTube. Share the live. The Street 919 FM.
Okay, listeners, for those of you who have been listening, this is the Third Empire, and we are back, our second hour of today's show. And before, in the first hour, we had Miss Sharon King, who is a school social worker, and she had a lot to talk to us, or she gave us some snippets of her webinar Beyond the Backpack. She had a lot to talk about the experiences of young people and some of the things they are carrying around, which is more than what you would expect in a backpack. and that includes what you cannot see in the backpack, that visual or invisible backpack, I should say, the issues, the sociological issues and psychological issues and all the other issues that may sometimes plague young people as they go back out to school. So those of you who were listening to the program, maybe you may want to call to ask some questions. We may be able to answer some of them or guide you in a particular way, because we spoke about a lot and there's a lot to unpack from what was said in the last hour, because we also straddled, those issues also straddled some of the more critical issues in society today, which includes crime and criminal activity, right? And as I would have said on a number of occasions right here, we have some challenges in our education system, not necessarily challenges that relates only to government and governance, but also parenting and family and all the other issues. And that means to a large extent that the webinar that Ms. Sharon King is going to be hosting Thursday, I think it is critical for parents to log into it, and Simoya will give you the address and how to get into it, because Simoya is also a coach in human relations and human resource management and all that kind of thing. And she, for one, she hosts a program almost on a nightly basis, and that program would have people like Sharon, who will give you ideas as to how you can traverse those issues that children would usually carry on, we call beyond the backpack. So if you are listening, you can call us. The number to call is 342-0081 or 466-5391. You can certainly call now, and we can probably discuss some of the things, because the program this evening earlier on was a very tight program, so she had a lot to say, and we wanted to listen and hear what she had to say. And certainly you are free to call us now, and Simoya is still with us. You are free to call us now, and we can probably have a little discussion on some of the issues that we would have spoken about. If not, we can move on to something else. When we talk about some of the challenges young people may have in school, we see some adults and in organization may have some of the challenges. So you have some significant challenges sometimes taking place, or it ends up in organization, even if you didn't learn how to do it well. And we see, for one, the opposition, the PNM, is having some challenges with one of their premier MPs, Brian Manning. He seems to be having some challenges with the PNM. His whole executive, in that is the San Fernando, is it the San Fernando East or San Fernando West? I think is Brian Manning is San Fernando. Brian Manning is San Fernando East MP, and he seems to be having some problems. His constituencies, entire constituency executive, walked out and resigned, and it is because of some issue that they are having. But the party, people like Dr. Amy Brown and the chairman of the party and that kind of thing, they are indicating that Brian Manning seems to be walking a very tight rope, and that they are urging him to stop washing dirty linens in public. It is something that I've always heard, even your parents talk about it. Stop washing dirty linens in public. And Brian Manning seems to be washing dirty linens in public. Or is it that the party is imploding? Let's hear from Vivian. Good evening, Vivian.
Yeah. Hey, Stephen, how you doing?
Yeah, good.
Good afternoon, all who are listening.
Yeah, afternoon.
Yeah, I just heard the ladies briefly.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's really a sad state where the government of the day is really doing a lot of handouts, you know, when really and truly people need jobs. Because people would prefer to provide than to beg. You know?
Mm-hmm.
That is one. You know, so the next thing too is that when you watch the leadership, so I heard you spoke about Grand Manning and San Fernando.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really a sad state where a government, a opposition, wants to get back into power. And they have a leading MP, because, I mean, that constituency has been in that family for some years, some decades.
Mm-hmm.
You want to get back into power, you're talking about all of the corruption with the UNC, but yet still you're trying to sweep what Manning is saying under the carpet rather than deal with it. You know, I have no issue with Manning and what he did, and I fully endorse Mrs. Manning. So maybe, as she say, she will throw her hat in the ring. Because I think, all in all, I think Mrs. Manning has proven to be a steady leader. I mean, over the years, we have never heard in any bacchanal. You know, she has always done what she was supposed to have done. You know, and I think that she finds that this time is the right time to come out. And personally, I have no problem with her coming out. But when you have leaders, the PNM, UNC, whoever, you have the police, we will always have problems with children. Because children watch us and learn.
Mm.
Right? Children don't learn in a vacuum. All right, they're watching the news, they're watching the papers, they're watching their teachers, they're watching their leaders, they're watching everything. You know, and it would have been nice to hear from his social worker. I don't know if she's in charge of a district or whatever, how many children would have been under her care. Because if you have one social worker for 6,000 children, does that make sense? You know?
Well, I don't know if you heard the last question I would have asked her. You know, because she would have indicated that when her contract ended, it was not renewed. And a number, so we hear that a lot about social workers in the schools. So I was asking her if she feels that the government understands the importance of social workers in the school as opposed to police officers and that kind of thing. And I can't remember what she said, but clearly there seems to be a reduction in social workers when really and truly there might be the need for more social workers in the school system, given what is happening in the system today and what the system seems to be churning out. I mean, we had a very, very good, I would say, I've heard only about successes this year in Cape and CXC and thing. Everybody seems to have done well. But that may have to do with something that is happening in the school or something that is happening home. But clearly, we still have a lot of criminal activities among young people. So something has to be done, and clearly there may be the need for more social workers in the school.
Yeah. You know, and then you have to watch the areas.
Mm-hmm.
Because, again, if you know that Port of Spain will have more problems with the youth, then you know that Port of Spain need more social workers than than Carney or wherever.
Yeah, and don't make it
You
a
know, but-
political thing, because if you make it a political thing and you reduce it, then what will happen is that problem will migrate just like everything else. It will migrate
Like everything else.
Like
Yeah.
everything else. It will migrate to the other more vulnerable communities. So we need to at least deal with the social worker issues in the schools, just like we're dealing with the bullying and the crime and all that kind of thing. Because that is important. It's a very, very delicate balance, a very important mix, and it is important. It has to happen. And that's my...
You know, there's something else I want to bring up. Since emancipation, UTT was who? Selwyn Cudjoe?
Mm-hmm.
Who's in charge of UTT? Is it Selwyn Cudjoe?
Yeah, Selwyn Cudjoe.
Right? I read on the social media that Selwyn Cudjoe came out and said that, hey, no salaries. You don't have enough money.
Mm-hmm.
But then I hear that how Selwyn Cudjoe's salary is $100,000.
I don't think.
You know,
I
mean,
think,
is that fair?
I don't think. I mean, as a human resource management,
it sounds unreasonable.
Well, it might sound so to it might sound so to it might sound so, but remember, in industry, in private sector, in big airlines and that kind of thing, high performing organizations, what more than likely you would need, or what all the time you would need, is the brightest and the best. And you see the leaders are the one who bear the brunt of everything. They are the responsible. Stephen. Let me finish.
Selwyn Cudjoe. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. So they are the ones who would usually be held responsible for everything, and as a result, you find they are the ones who you would want to pay the best salary, because you want the best profits from the organization, and one would reflect the other. I don't know if the same is true with UTT, but that's how they pay CEOs.
Yeah.
CEO is not prime minister.
Okay, but Selwyn has proven not to be the brightest.
Okay.
You know, because you cannot come for emancipation, understanding the demographics of Trinidad and Tobago, and bring on an Indian Act for emancipation. That is one. You cannot come and state the government position is that we do not have money to pay salaries or to increase salaries. Leave that to the you and the union meet and discuss, because from what I understand is years the union has been trying to get salary increases for the workers. We have people in UTT who get in 4,000, 5,000, 6,000, 8,000, and a disgrace.
But
that
Vivian,
is, I understand fully well what you're saying.
Vivian, apart from what I would have said about CEOs, remember, UTT is a state-owned university, a state-owned enterprise. So Selwyn Cudjoe don't pay himself and he don't pay workers, right? And he could only say what he have available to him. So if there is no money in the system to pay people more money, I'm just saying, that's what he had to say. He had to tell the truth. So maybe we need to focus our anger not so much on how much money Selwyn Cudjoe is working for, and see how best the government could what they could do to allocate more money to pay the workers there. I don't know, but or hear from the government itself, the CPO or whoever, as to what kind of availability of funds to be able to pay workers according to what was promised to them, and that's a different thing. But how much he working for to me is not important. He's a worker just like everybody else there.
I have no problem with that. But keep your mouth shut. Don't come and say our next episode of Emancipation, you're going to bring on Indian artists. Don't come. You know, you have to leave. You have to learn when to hush your mouth sometimes. And I think that Selwyn has proven. And I think that this post and the comments he has been making over the last month is just carrying his so-called good name down.
Okay.
You know? But it is what it is. And we got to see how it goes. Because school starting just now. And I'm telling you, I have a lot of parents who nowhere close to be ready for school.
They know where the meal coming for school for the morning.
They don't have a clue. They don't have a clue.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. That's really, 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 really
You know?
unfortunate. Right? That is unfortunate, but...
All right, so I'll leave you for our next caller.
Yeah, it is what it is. Yeah?
All right. Yes, Stephen.
Yeah.
Take care.
So, Simoya, you know, what you have to say as it relates to what, you know, my position on what the government's role must be in schools as it relates to social workers, as it relates to all the issues that Sharon would have spoken about.
Yeah. It is a all-person approach, and we really have to understand that we are all part of the community. Now, recently I did an article for my Transform HR community about even the workplace being part of that community or the village that raises a child. You know, because as Sharon was saying, it's not just one particular issue. One child or one person is representing the multiplicity of factors that affect them, and they are coming into everybody else's spaces with their own baggage. So we saw the government introducing police officers into the mix. There are people who are divided about it. Some people say yes because these little children are not children anymore. There are some people who would say no because you are creating the conditions for them to feel like criminals. But two things in my view can exist at the same time. What do we do when some children only respond to that kind of thing? Otherwise, you talk to them, you try to give them counseling, you try to help them with other ways, and they are not responding to those softer measures. What do you then do? Allow them to walk over you? Or do you now, as the adult, be the adult in the room and draw the line and say, this is how far you could go? So, I don't know how to say. I personally, I agree with introducing the police because there are violent children who are not responding to more, I don't want to say more humane or more child-friendly strategies. They are just not responding to that. And we can see it by the brutal beatings that they are placing on other children. They are beating them to the extent that some children are going unconscious, and they continue because they don't care if this child lives or dies.
But it's not a child. As I say, I always say that it's a product of the socialization.
Right, so, and we're not saying that, but the product is manifesting itself in this one child. We are talking about a school fight scenario where, all right, hitting a man 2 slap is enough and walk away. It's no longer just enough. You are now stamping this other child, this victim, in their head with the intention to knock them out. What do we do?
It's like, you know,
with that.
It's like,
you understand? So
it's
you
like
can't be.
It's like little baby demons, boy. Let me take this call. Good evening. Good evening, caller.
Good evening to the panel. Good afternoon.
Good evening.
And good afternoon to you listeners. I want to just hinge off on something Vivian was saying a little earlier on, as it relates to the salaries that we pay in some persons. Nothing wrong with people working for plenty money, you know. But what they produce must be placed on a scale and weighed to determine if we should continue. Because we have a habit or a practice here in Trinidad where we will pay people huge amounts of money for years. And every year, what they are presiding over continues to fail, and there will never be any redress. So, as I say, there's nothing wrong with paying people plenty money, but their work must be evaluated and a determination must be made in the best interest of the country.
It must commensurate.
Correct
with
is right. And it is the same thing as it relates to the state renting buildings. It must be that if you choose to rent a building, right, based on the length of time that you have to rent it for, you have to determine what activity is going on there. Is it any income producing activity that makes that it making sense to just continue renting this for years, or should we look for somewhere that is feasible and build our own structure and come out of this foolish renting? Because when you hear about millions of dollars spent in rentals and some of them unoccupied for years, you have to ask yourself, these people, does ever take that same attitude into their private lives with their own finances? I am certain the answer is no. So why do they continue to do it to the country?
Well, the thing
why
is,
would you?
The thing is,
Mm-hmm.
if I'm to answer, business is in business for business. Government is not in office. Is not in business for business. Government is in business to making sure that everybody has or should be making sure and everybody has an equitable share of the pie with everything. The sad thing about that is that a lot of times,
agree with that.
a lot of times, some people, by the very action, by what we're talking about, renting buildings, and some people get to eat plenty more than what they should be eating, and we're not getting value for it. But they don't look at value like that in government.
Correct.
You understand?
I agree, Mr. Matteson, in the position that you outlined that the government is in, as opposed to a business per se. But things must make sense, right? Not because you have a wider mandate than just a business, mean that you will engage in foolish financial actions or endeavors. It doesn't make any sense. Why would we outfit a building for $50-something million, all for the DPP to say that he is not going there? What's going on with that, man? So it had no discussions before to make sure or that was just to make sure that the owners of that property enjoy a lavish payout from the state. What about the scaffolding that was around the Red House for years? Yes. Who is to fit that bill? These are the kind of things that continue to go on in this country, and that is why Mr. Vivian's point is very vital in my opinion.
Chris,
we need to, yeah.
You're not saying anything that I disagree with. I just had the same problem. I operate in private sector, but I share a relationship with a state-owned organization. I say the same thing every single day. I mean, it's just what they do seems to make no sense in terms of spending money. In terms of it's like cognitive dissonance. From private sector to state-owned, really inefficiency, no strategic thinking. The system is designed for wastage and inefficiency and the worst set of leaders and all that kind of thing. And it frustrates you as a strategic person. But I mean, it is what it is.
And Mr. Matteson, in light of all of that, right? I am thinking that the people in charge ought to be engaging the managers and the supervisors as to understand why these certain things continue to happen under your stewardship, right? What do you have at your disposal, whether it's to discipline somebody if they're not performing well, if it's to retrain them, a number of things.
Well,
because you have to start...
We've seen a lot of boards. We've seen a lot of boards sending home CEOs and that kind of thing, and I've been trying to encourage the board that I am on to do the same, because certainly they need to be home.
Wow.
That executive management sometimes need to be home. Just not thinking.
The last point I want to make is based on what you now said, Mr. Matheson, because it goes beyond just removing people. It need the right people in the right places, because just like elections, removing people does not solve the problems that we have in Trinidad unless we go further in the process and really select persons to really be in this parliament and be about the people's business and forget about Pekong, resist the urge to respond to all these trivial things that is be going on. Unless we select those type of individuals, well, it seems like the top will continue to spin in the mud, right? Each government have the things that it is do that they have to get credit for, but they also have to take responsibility for the things that they are not doing well at all. I'll look to listening. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for calling. Yeah, and the caller is echoing, a number of things we talk about. Yeah, I mean, you and I, and Ronaldo, and some of the other people that are here sometimes, we operate in a sphere of strategic thinking, critical thinking, efficiency, productivity, that kind of thing. That doesn't normally happen in most places. I was on your program a few days ago, and I spoke about that because all these things we read in textbook and thing, unless you are in
different
private sector or you're in multinational organization,
very different reality,
where profit and productivity are key. It is what we discuss in boardrooms. Where that is key, you will have people being paid menial incomes all the time, and you will have the worst set of people working and calling themselves leaders in your organization. We need to move away from that. If we really want to see a different Trinidad and Tobago, if we really want to see a place where high performing organization, productivity, and that kind of thing are the forefront of your development, right? But that is easier said, because most people don't even understand what that means, and they don't really want to hear that. Right? People want, in Trinidad, we want money. We don't want to work.
That's right.
We want money.
To make the money as easy as possible.
So, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, it will continue to be so. It will continue to frustrate people like myself, and it will continue not working.
And you see, my concern is that while all of these societal issues are happening, it feels as though the powers that be, they are not focusing on these issues. We study in the Pekong who said this and who said that, and we are mixing up racism all in it.
Let's take this call.
Yeah.
Good evening, caller.
Yeah, good afternoon, Miss Simona and Miss
good afternoon.
Matheson. Well, it can't. These things can't go on forever. It seems to be on that plate for quite a long time. I mean, many years we've been going through the question of corruption, waste, and greed, and those things have crippled this country. This country on its knees purely because of those things. Nepotism. We're talking about people square peg in wrong hole.
All the time.
Friends and family and all that kind of thing. People who no merit, a system that is not based on merit.
Wow.
And this is where we are today. And we have to get away from that. We have to move away from that. Right? And I mean, it's a sad day in this country. I don't know. And this is why I'm saying that this government has a task on its hand, but they have to deal with it. Have to deal with it. And yes, you have, when people are not performing on boards and they're a bit slick, you have to get rid of them. You have to get rid of them. This corruption and this thing has to stop. And if you can't perform, get out, make way for other people who can perform. That is how you're going to build a country. And that is why you have developed countries and you have third world. You have first world and you have third world.
Correct.
Those are the things, because the standards that they uphold daily. You not performing in England, Canada, United States, they get rid of you. Barbados, they get rid of you. Jamaica, in Trinidad, they hold on to you.
But I've seen some boards getting balls and they're sending home some CEOs and some executive management people. Because they're just not making sense. They're lying to the board, they're cheating, they're saying things that isn't happening, all kind of madness taking place. But you know, boards need to start to wake up and smell the coffee.
Yeah, and not just that, the cabinet has to, I say, do what they have to do. Right? And if people are not performing here, boards have to do, but also you have people on board too.
Yes.
Who are not functioning.
Yes, correct.
Right? Who about their own business, their own agenda. But this is Trinidad.
Correct.
The thing about that is it almost become a culture. So we have to deal with that, because we're known in the Caribbean, as I said, as corrupt, wasteful, right? And people who are given to greed. And we do anything for a penny. So we have to move away from that, and we have to deal with it. And the way to deal with it, you have to call in the police. You have to fire them. And not cover up. You see this thing about secrecy? You have to move away from that. If they're in your party, and the thing about it, in the last incarnation of this government under the as PP, I think the Prime Minister did well in terms of dealing with her ministers, those who fell short, and that must continue. And I would support that.
But the CDPNM is trying to deal with one of their MPs.
Well, they're dealing with the MP, but you see, what happened here is this: is that you have lodge and you have cult and that kind of thing. And when you have lodge, you have secrecy. When you have cult, you have secrecy. And just how you run, if you run your party with under with one of the principle of a principle that you have secrecy. When you say you have secrecy, you remove the whole idea of transparency, you know, where you clear, where you honest, right? We talk about honesty and openness. So if you run, just how you run your party is how you run the government.
Well, that particular MP might be looking to spill some beans.
Well, he's spilling, but I mean,
so much so that his party is saying, "Hey, don't stop. You're going down a very dangerous road. You can't be washing dirty linens in public."
Well, you see, the thing about it is this: is that the party, that is their modus operandi. That is how they operate. And I mean to say, I have never heard the PNM people being so open about the PNM in terms of the way it do business and with respect to alleged corruption. So we have never had that. I wouldn't want to say that too much, because you have people like Carl Hudson Phillip and those people who were in the party and who did expose. You have, I don't know whether Gene Myers was part of it, but there was a price. They always play a price. You don't talk out against the PNM. That code of secrecy is sacrosanct, you know.
You always pay a price. You get vanquished.
They pay a price.
You get vanquished for speaking out.
Yes, because they attack you with full force, you know. And you saw what happened to G. Miles. You saw what happened to Hudson Phillip. You saw what happened to A.N.R. Robinson.
Hudson Phillip was relegated. Gene Miles died.
You saw what happened to McLean and all these people. You know, there's a price to pay. And, you know, sometimes it's very, very severe. So I am saying they have a culture. And yes, we come together and we defend each other. And when you when you move away from that code, that was some kind of Costa Nostra or something like that. What the consequence?
You get persona non grata.
So that is how they operate. You see, but I really don't want any part of that. I can't be in no organization. People have to, stand up for what is right and stand up for what they believe is right. And not because I swear to a code, I have a code. If things are going wrong, I can't talk about it. That is why, so the time would have come, and the time has come, when people believe that, hey, listen, I ain't going down that road, I can't, I have a conscience, I have to sleep at night. So nobody will tie me to that. And keep it within, let me keep it among ourselves. And that is the thing that happened, and we see it in all sectors of the society. When people do wrong things in the public service, they keep it there. Because they have that doctrine of secrecy. So everything is a secret in the police, in the army, in the prison, anywhere is secrecy. And those are the things. That is one of the things that have brought this country again to where it is today, because we all give into secrecy. We're not saying, and then on the other hand, you're telling people, what you see, you had a report to the police, what they call it, something, whistleblower. You want whistleblower,
Yeah, but you want to kill you whistleblower.
Yeah, but I'm telling you.
When you whistleblower, blow you whistle.
Well, I'm telling you, you strong on you put whistleblower legislation and all that. But when things going awry within your party, hey, you can't talk about that. You can't give the police no information on that. Let you keep that, let me bury that. So I don't know. One of the things that you spoke about with the social workers and whatnot, and I think Ms. Simona Moya would have spoken about it, and your guests, and that is the social workers and the numbers. Are they are they aligned with the clients? How many people may want help within the school system?
Yeah, any particular.
Right, and also the model or the perspective that they use. And she said something like ecological system approach. I don't know if that has to do with persons in situation, or it's it's different to psychosocial model that they use in terms of treating with problems that students may have, in fact, or may present from time to time. But it's a very demanding task, because you have to, when you're using that model, some people use, I think, what they call solution focus and all that kind of thing. But you have to deal with, if you're using the ecological model, I don't know, you could correct me, you have to deal with the parent, the teacher, the parent, the home. You have to deal you may have to deal with the community. You may have to deal with the teacher. Yeah, you have to deal with all these things, right? Right. So, and if you deal with if you have a client, I think, who might be a student, depending on the problem, you have to work with them over a period of time. It may be 6 months, it might be a year, and you really need more social workers.
Well,
because that's your client.
You see, if we were able to compartmentalize education, so I spoke about this years ago, when we talk about how, if we understand how people learn, everybody learn different, and if we could probably break that up from the inception, so you have like a VAC. You understand what a VAC is, right? You have a VAC system where you find out from inception how people learn.
That's right.
How people socialize, everything, and you break it up, and you get the right kind of educational tools to teach people how to learn.
Yeah, that's right.
Then you may have more equity in the system, because you wouldn't have a fish trying to learn with an elephant, and an elephant trying to learn with a tiger and a worm, that kind of thing.
They have different approaches.
You would have different approaches, but everybody getting the same, delivery.
Yeah, that is one aspect of it. But I think what the social worker is looking at in fact, the teacher may indicate to the social worker or present to the social worker where a particular student or some students are presenting certain problems. Some people may be dyslexic. Some students may be coming to school and they can't concentrate. They're sleeping on themselves. They're staying.
Well, this is the end result. This is the end. Without what we just talk about, this is what you will have. If they implement what we just talk about, you will have less of that, and then maybe you'll be able to streamline social workers in a particular area where they are more needed, and you'll know where they are needed, and you know that kind of thing. Because you'll have a more scientific environment in terms of learning.
Yeah, well, that could be an approach, but I am saying how I have observed it. In terms of if you go to those secondary schools, if you go to England, you would see it. And what would happen is that usually the teacher you have a social worker, she would go to the social worker and, tell the social worker about the student and whatnot, and he's not performing. She observes certain things, he's not focused. Probably the fact remains that he may have problems, not eating probably not having breakfast in the morning. The fact remaining, he may be not doing well, and they may find out that he's dyslexic. They may realize that he's not functioning well in class because he may have a eye problem.
He might be diabetic or something and have
those sort of things. And therefore, the social worker would interview him. She will go to his home with his parent, interview the parent and all that kind, because she's looking to find out what is the problem. The fact remains is that how they work is through interviews. They interview those parties, the parties as a matter of fact, those people, and because they're looking to diagnose and to intervene in terms of treatment. It may mean referring the child to a clinic or whatever it is, working with the parent and all that for treatment. The child may be dyslexic, and therefore they may need special, so a referral again, right? They may come from a dysfunctional home where the parents are always in conflict. They're fighting whole night, probably in a home where is only music, and so therefore the child is performing badly because of what goes on within the home environment. So all these things, so that is it, because it is hampering his performance in school. That is the school social worker. She's there to help the child in terms of the child being able to perform in terms of his performance in school work. And those things that are impacting on his ability to perform. They deal with that. So that's how I see it, That's my observation with respect to it.
That is so important. That's so critical what you're saying there, because to a large extent we really need some diversity in education, and we really need social workers and that kind of thing.
Yeah, and then another thing about it is that when they started with this social work, they took social workers and put them in the more prestige schools. The schools that were doing well, QRC and all these, but schools like Mukurapu and all those schools, they never put them there.
Really?
Wow. No.
Okay.
Probably in the late stage they started to do that, but very early in the game, those schools, that is where they placed those people. I always ask why they did that. And those other schools, in the more depressed areas, those are the people who need help. But over QRC and all these had social workers. And the fact remains that we know for a fact the social stratum from which those children came from. We know the parents educated and whatnot, some of them teachers, principal and all. It's question of class and the extent to which they pay attention to this, the education of the children, their capacity and ability to help the children. All these things. So in those, you go back to those communities and you realize why those depressed communities, you have all the problems, all the social problems you could think about comes from within those underprivileged or depressed communities. That is where you have high level of unemployment. Those are the areas where you have a high level of illiteracy, where children perform badly in school. And those are the communities that you need to help. These are the communities where people, when they get up on a morning, they'll go get water and all that. They have to go and, I want to use the word, tote water. 5 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock. These are the people who need help. These are, you know, so it's no wonder that those are the hotspots. Those are that present all the problems that we face within this country today in terms of social problems. Anyhow, Mr. Matterson, it was nice speaking with you.
Yes.
Thanks again.
Thank you.
It was certainly nice.
You know, the caller mentioned something, and we were talking about this weeks ago. I was suggesting that at least on a monthly or quarterly basis, the community center should be used to bring in social workers or psychologists, however you want to call them, to have a chat with parents in the community.
You see that?
I think it's something we should be doing.
I don't know how if we have a lot of capacity in the communities, and it's strange to me, like certain places like Lavender, you always see those places closed.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Why is it that we're not utilizing the nice capacity that you could use?
That's correct.
To
have those
develop,
forums.
People in the community in significant ways.
I think there are a lot of parents that need the assistance because we are acting as though family situations do not spill over into the school situation. What we call man and woman situations, they impact these children. And people, when they are vindictive, they want to hurt the other party, they don't care about the child in the middle. It's a reality. So what happens there?
And we spoke about that when I was talking about the child who got co-parented.
Yes.
And
they came together for the child to be
spoke
successful.
About that. She said that parents just have the little issues. But sometimes if you really want your child to succeed, you have to come together for the greater good.
I want to say something. Now I know it may not happen with all co-parenting parents or parties, but I would love for this school term, principals and teachers need to stop encouraging one party to come in school and bad talk the other parent. Stop getting involved in situations that you have no information about because they do it in the presence of the children. And when those information start going back and forth and the other parent shows up now for parents meeting, we have the watching cut eye. The men get it a lot. Sometimes the women run in school to give their side of the story, and instead of the teacher or the principal, whoever, say, sir or ma'am, we are not getting involved in this. Both parents would be allowed to come concerning the child. But from the time you start entertaining that kind of thing, you are contributing to the problem. It's no longer about the child.
Yeah, well, the school, I don't know the place. They don't know where to
But there are some schools that do not know the place. And I am saying this should be a shining example with these parents that they have their differences, but the success of the child was of greater importance. I am seeing that happening a lot, that we need to stop doing these things. That is not your business.
Well, your friend, the social worker that was here a while ago, Sharon, she alluded to a lot of things. And that is parents or children socialization at home. And one thing she didn't say is that children get socialized in school also.
100%.
Right? And to a large extent, we maybe have to teach teachers how to be social workers too. Because you know what is the Pygmalion effect.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
And to a large extent, sometimes how teachers' expectation of you plays a very important role because it is manifested in your behavior and that kind of thing.
Correct.
So you find that Pygmalion effect, that's real, you know. It is real. Teachers' expectation on children, and children perform as consistent with the expectation that you have of them because you manifest that in ways that is different. So teachers also have to be trained as social workers to understand which is why I don't know I've never gone to, well, I thought for probably a short while, but I've never gone to like training college to learn how to teach and that. And I don't know if they teach you all of that in training college. I know we study that in psychology. And
I hope they do.
In HR and that kind of thing. But really, teachers also play a significant role in the school in terms of socialization of children. When your children are home, Monday to Friday, they only get a small percentage of the socialization from you as
That's
opposed
correct.
to a teacher, you know.
That's right.
A teacher before you for sometimes 6-7 hours.
Yep. You know, I saw that with my daughter when she started school. When she started in first year, everything was, no, mommy, missy. Everything is missy because she is now spending that time.
Exactly.
Yeah, it
You're not
happens.
spending that kind of time.
Yeah.
And we spoke about how parents, a lot of parents see school as a daycare center.
Yeah.
Because they
nowhere
have nothing
else.
to give the child. They have nothing to say to the children. They don't know how to socialize the children. So they prefer to let them go in
does that
school.
for
Just
them.
send them to school and
Yeah.
you can stay in school whole day and whole night if you want. But
And you know, you see that the day the school has a some kind of workshop or something, and there's no school for that, they pair a lot of parents like fish out of water because that is what they are depending on to keep the children during the day.
But it shouldn't necessarily be that
It
alone.
shouldn't.
But while teachers get paid to do that, to some extent,
The job
it-
expands
it-
beyond.
yeah, parents have a role also.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
they must understand their role. So you know, all these things are very, very, very important and it will be interesting to hear what that webinar.
It
maybe you
will be
could-
a fantastic webinar because she just scratched the surface just to give us enough for that 1 hour. And I really am encouraging a lot of parents to come out to this webinar. It is absolutely free. And this is the time that you need to get the tools. Don't sit there and say, well, I don't know. It is free. A resource is coming to you to help you along the way. We are a brother's keeper, and we have to really give that support. So we'll be sharing that information as we continue on the program.
Excellent. So, you know, during her presentation, she did indicate how what is happening internationally also affects us in Trinidad and Tobago. And we see this is something we see all the time. And we are seeing a lot of things happening in the world today. The geopolitics is real. And it is affecting us. It will affect us in significant ways. I can guarantee you it will affect Trinidad and Tobago in some significant ways in terms of inflation. We hardly do anything to influence what is happening on the world stage. And we are looking at a new alliance that is Turkey, Pakistan, and Saudi Arabia.
Oh, wow.
And we saw what Trump and Trump and the White House did yesterday with respect to Iran. That is they have a Operation Outcast with Iran, where they try to isolate Iran from the U.S. financial system. But that will have other implications for the U.S.
Yeah.
Obviously, that will swiftly the de-dollarization of the U.S. dollar. And the U.S., for those who don't know, the U.S. has put on almost $1 trillion in debt over the last 3 months.
Wow.
And now you are talking about taking countries offline from your dollar system if you trade with Iran. How stupid could you get? Right?
Let's see how
but
far
I'm
this
saying
will
that
go.
because that have large and far-reaching consequences for the
it's
people
not
of Trinidad and Tobago
at
also.
all.
Right? We don't really
Especially with
trade.
our
There's not
economy.
much trade we trade with Iran, but think about the consequences of what they are saying and what they are doing. And then you have China and Russia and some of the other bigger countries. You have BRICS, who certainly have increased their de-dollarization mode to trade among themselves with their own currency. But ladies and gentlemen, we are going for a break, and when we come back, we will continue this conversation.
You've got bills to pay, and so do we. Let's go pay some bills on the street 919 FM.
me, your dream came true. I gonna walk down the aisle.
Finally, show me a ring.
Up the plane.
What?
With KFC and Copa Airlines down the aisle promotion.
Well, take me on the trip now.
Win an all expenses paid trip for two to one of 5 Copa Airline destinations with KFC. To enter, you can either buy an onion ring sandwich and upload the receipt, or upload a cool pic of you enjoying your onion rings with the hashtag #ShowMeARing. 2 winners will be selected, and weekly KFC vouchers are up for grabs too. See social media for details. Promotion ends September 6th and is approved by the NLCB.
Join us.
Strictly local radio show, blazing the best positive hits out of TT.
Hottest radio show.
Welcome. You are now locked in.
Every Saturday, 6 to 8 p.m., blazing the very best in Trinbago music and more, sending the heartbeat of the Twin Islands straight to the world.
This service is a massive communication product that aims to provide a new media platform for local TT entrepreneurs.
You're now locked into one of the hottest radio shows.
Send us your voice notes or call in live and rep your district. Whether you're in East, West, North, South, or Sweet Tobago, this is your show, your sound, your culture.
Hottest radio show.
Strictly local, hosted by the one and only DJ Flex 868. Don't miss it. Every Saturday, 6 to 8 p.m. Only on the streets 91.9 FM. The vibes, the culture, the sound of Trinbago.
We blaze all the best in TT. Hashtag rep your district.
It's KFC in the cricket. Crunch up that crunch. Crunch up that crunch. Crunch up that crunch. Doing it the KFC way. Crunch up that crunch. Crunch up that crunch. Crunch up that crunch. TKR all the way. Passion inside the way. Bringing the energy. It's chicken for all the way. KFC got way. When we come out to play, nothing can bother way. Winning is part the way. TKR all the way.
Grab your maximum crunch bucket today with 6 pieces of chicken, 1 regular popcorn chicken, 4 regular sides for only $144.95. Crunch after crunch with KFC.
Share the live. Share the live. The Street 919 FM on Facebook and Instagram. Share the live. Iowa George on Instagram. Share the live. Iowa TV and Street TV on YouTube. Share the live. The Street 919 FM.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. And certainly you can chime in, you can call us, you are here in the discussion. You can choose to join us, call us on the program 342-0081 or 466-5391. We are in our final hour. And as usual, we have a lot to talk about. Now, one of the things that I want to remind, especially for those who are new to the program, we are also professionals in employment law, human resource management, and all the human development activities that people, workers experience. So we are consultants in those areas, and therefore, you know, a lot of time we experience things outside on a daily basis. Sometimes we want to talk about it. Sometimes it's difficult to talk about it. But Simoya, Dr. Simoya, has a program she's running. How is that program run? Is it a weekend, on weekends, or on evenings?
I have dedicated now 4 weeks because Mr. Matterson was the star of the show last weekend.
Really?
So I have dedicated 4 weeks to do an HR development course. It's a program, it's a free program that I'm running for potential HR professionals. You're trying to get into HR, you're now studying, you want to know what it is about. And for the 4 weeks we are looking at, I started off with the modern HR professional. Stephen Matterson is going to look at industrial relations for HR professionals. Last weekend I had a lecturer come to talk about HR administration in terms of performance management and talent acquisition. Saturday coming, we are going to go into benefits, pension, etc., and overall HR administration. So it's some key areas that we look at for persons who are desirous, and for persons who are in HR and they just want a refresher, they just want to share some of the challenges they have, to give a real picture. We talk about realistic preview, a real picture of what HR looks like. You know, Stephen, sometimes we interview HR people and they say, well, I want to work in HR because I like people. And we always laugh because that's not the reality. In the workplace, humanity could be challenging. The same people you think you like and love so much, they can really, really turn different for you, especially when they quote unquote know their union rights. The iron man is here. So this is what this is about.
Okay, but one of the things whenever I listen to, because whenever I go abroad on these seminars and these like SHUM conference and that kind of thing, here a lot, you even in your classroom itself where you teach, when you was at university, the things you learn and that kind of thing, all of these things, these textbook things, sometimes we call it that, but it makes a lot of sense if you are able to practice it.
Yep.
To a large extent, HR is not practiced the way it should be practiced in Trinidad and Tobago. HR to a large extent is supposed to be a science, and the science of not managing people, but the science of developing people in the workplace and taking care of them in the workplace. Because one of the things I always tell students, I tell persons, clients, your HR, your human capital relates to all the people in your organization. Unless you're as androids or robots or whatever you're working with,
correct,
you are working with people in your organization, and that is your human capital. And the thing is, in Trinidad and Tobago, to a large extent, in private sector, it's about profit.
Correct.
And they might be more inclined to adhere to some of the principles in the way it should be adhered to in private sector. And in state-owned, it's a little different. There's no... Profit is not at the helm. Productivity either. And as a result, anything goes to a large extent.
Correct.
Right? So sometimes talking HR in there is like throwing pearls to swines. They can't... It is difficult for them to conceptualize why we need that and why we need to do that in the way. But HR really is a science.
Correct.
And in every aspect of it is a science, it's numbers. If you use the analytics, you use the information, you use information generated over a period of time, you'll be able to tell certain things, you'll be able to understand why you need to do certain things, and you'll be able to use the maths and the analytics to solve problems in your organization. And I'll tell you, and I say this all the time, wherever I teach or wherever I lecture to people on webinars or wherever, I tell people all the time that HR is a science, and it really begins with a strategy, which is, I was telling you, when I always wanted to consult. And because I wanted to consult, I would have changed career about 4 times in my lifetime. I changed career about 4 times. There was a time when I was just off the grid. But when I decided to consult in HR, I knew I had to understand everything about HR. And the science of it and everything. So I didn't just do a bachelor's in HR, human resource management, but I also did a master's in human resource management. So I understood it in ways that sometimes a person who just go to the University of the West Indies and do a management degree with a minor or a major in HR will never understand it in that way. Right? And because it is a science, you have to understand the workplace begins always with a strategy. So you have to understand that your strategic plan will actually tell you where you're going and how you intend to get there, because you will have a vision, you will also have a mission. And cascading down from that, you will have HR now taking that vision and that mission, knowing exactly what the strategy, the strategic objectives and everything of the organization is, what you want to do, how much money you want to make, what kind of people you want in your organization, and then they will now take that and develop people according to that. And that's what it's about. And once you understand that, all the other elements of HR falls inside of that, right? Strategic training, or HRD as we would call it, performance management. And a lot of people, when they hear about performance management in the workplace, they think about appraisals. Right?
That is different.
That is totally different. performance appraisal is just a subset
Yeah.
of performance
Yeah.
management. It's just one of the tools.
Yep.
And most of the time is the last tool
Correct.
outside of your PIP and
Yeah.
that kind of thing. To a large extent, we have systems to be able to do that, which monitors and manages people.
Yeah.
So I've seen organizations, state-owned organizations, who don't know they ask from the elbow. They don't know what they clearly don't know what they're doing. So you hire somebody, and then 3 months after you do a performance appraisal, and then you tell them that they're performing and you want to send them home. It doesn't make sense.
Correct.
Recruitment or talent acquisition is a very expensive undertaking.
Correct.
And because it's a very expensive undertaking, you want to develop people between that period.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And there are ways and there are means to do that.
To
So
do
if you
that.
find somebody not working according to a standard, the easiest thing to do is to develop that person to that point. Instead of trying to frustrate that person to get them out.
Yeah.
Right? That doesn't make sense. You will have a date with those people on St. Vincent Street in most cases, and it will not be a good date. You might
Correct.
get X on that date. Right? So the thing is, to a large extent, Trinidad business and more than the people that
Correct.
spends our money need to understand these things, because if they
Correct.
don't,
Correct.
they will continue to get X down on St. Vincent Street. And clearly that is not happening today. It is not happening in the way we would want to see it. And it is really, really sad for HR in Trinidad and Tobago. With all the nice HR professionals walking
The
over about
reality
hunky-dory,
is
talking all these nice
hard.
things. Right?
It's very hard.
It is not working.
And I'm realizing that there are a lot of HR vacancies of recent. Because what do you do when your CEO or your executive tells you this is the decision that I want? You can tell me wherever you want about industrial court. We don't care about that place on St. Vincent
Well,
Street.
we say they
Who
have.
prepares you for that?
We say those are people with effort monies.
Yeah.
Right? They just have effort
they
money
would
put
pay.
on to pay for that. But that still wouldn't solve the problem,
No, it
because what you will
wouldn't.
be spending, you wouldn't be only spending money in the court, but you will also be spending money to every Monday morning recruit new
recruiting
people.
somebody.
Right?
The reputational damage. I don't think they care about the reputational
Well, some of them
damage.
don't
to the
really care about
company.
that. Some of them don't really. Some of
Clearly
them
they
is not
don't
their
care.
money spending like in state-owned enterprise.
Yep.
Not their money, so they
So
just
they
do what
just
they had to
doing
do.
what they want.
Right?
Yeah.
And all of that to me is unfortunate, because it is not good for people management. It is not good for the system. And it's not good for your organization.
No,
you could be
it's
making
not.
a lot more money doing the right thing.
I still want to zone into the fact that it's not good for the HR practitioners, because you'll hear a lot of people say, well, it's the HR. And a lot of times these HR people are following instructions. The trauma that HR practitioners are carrying because of a decision that they did not make.
But I would say that most of them stupid. Let me tell you why. I say things. Most of them are clowns. HR, one of the first founding principles of HR is that you are an advocate for the employer, and you are also an advocate for the employee. So your role in the organization is really as a strategic advisor.
Right.
Right? And you need... You remember Dr. Gwen? You remember what she always used to say?
Yeah.
You had to earn your space at the boardroom
Yeah.
table. Nobody will tell you that you have to earn it.
Yeah.
So your job is to advise. Your
Yeah.
job is to advise executive management on what they should do and what they should not do. And if you are all wrong HR person and you understand all the elements, including industrial relations, which is a major derivative of HR in my opinion, then you would understand that your role is significant and sacrosanct.
So what about the people that says, and you had that experience, I am not paying you to think?
Well, leave. If you're not paying me to think, then you don't need me.
There are, and that's going to this thing. That is very
You don't
easy to
need me.
say for the person that doesn't have too much responsibilities. Remember, at the same time, these HR practitioners, they are moms, they are dads, they are they have their responsibilities.
There are people looking for HR people. Leave. Anytime you're not paying me to you telling me.
So they have to. I would prefer to say you begin your exit strategy.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's really unrealistic to just walk out on a job and you have bills to pay. Landlord just might put you out in this harsh economic time. So I'm saying if that is the situation that you find yourself in as a HR practitioner or otherwise, begin your exit strategy. That's it.
I never had that. My experience, I remember I was working as a HR manager when I just came out of government.
Right.
I was working for a company as a HR manager, and one morning, this particular CEO, he would call you like 3 o'clock in the morning and thing. Sometimes there was a time he was talking about people reaching to work for 5 o'clock. He wanted his executives to be there for 5 o'clock to plan the day and all kind of madness.
Wow.
But anyway, that was his way. And one morning, he called me about 3 o'clock and he said that, I've been observing this young lady in the corridor talking to a gentleman all the time during her breaks. And Stephen, I want you to fire this lady. And he said, I want her gone. Yeah, I remember that and I told him that that was the entrance to my consulting era, because I started consulting after that particular job.
Wow.
Yeah, and he said, listen, I want you to go on. And I told him that the next day. I say, well, that's not how you fire people. I mean, I can't do that. That's not in me. Where I come from and what I learn, I can't do that.
Yeah.
And he said, well, I am not paying you all this money, because my salary was 35 plus at the time. So I can't pay you all this kind of money I'm not paying you for you to tell me what to do. I am paying you for you to do what I tell you to do.
Wow.
He was that kind of person.
Wow.
I said, well, this might be my exit. Because I'm not here for that.
Yeah.
I have a reputation.
Reputation.
As a consultant now, and as a practitioner in the court, I have cross-examined the HR people, and their names are on record for doing SHIT.
Yep. Your name goes on the record.
In the court, on court documents that would last there for hundreds of years. I wasn't cut out for that.
Wow.
So I didn't want to be part of that. I'm not making those kind of decisions. Right? So HR people must understand that this is one of the first things you learn.
Yeah.
HR 101.
Yeah.
You are an advocate for HR, for workers, and an advocate for management too. So essentially, you are an advisor.
Yeah.
And if you do understand that, then you will learn that the hard way.
Yep.
So that program you're doing, that's an excellent program. And I am happy also to be one of the lecturers or one of the facilitators in that program at some point in time. I think I would have a lot to share.
Yes. Yeah. The intent is to make people better, because we always talk about the problem, but what about being part of the solution? And this is free this year, because next year it's not going to be free. But we start somewhere.
Might have to pay consultant fees.
Yeah, but it helps. It helps. There are so many people going into the workplace and they just have to sink or swim. You have to figure it out. And in figuring it out, you make so much mistakes because there's nobody to really tell you, this is how we do it. We are in a workspace, a work environment where training is not emphasized to the extent that they go through a rigorous orientation with you. What is the expectation? Put you on an actual training program. People don't have time for that anymore. Because the work continues to exist. I also find that in a lot of organizations, there's just one HR person. Yeah, most of the time, it's just a junior that they're putting to carry the work of the HR department.
And the international benchmark really is really about 3 HR officers or 3 HR professionals to every 50 people.
To 50. Mm-hmm.
So, and I say I use 50 because 50 is a kind of medium-sized company in Trinidad.
Yeah, yeah.
But worldwide, you know, you have companies with 500,000-600,000 people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Spread all over the globe.
Yeah, yeah.
And their HR is a little different.
Correct.
Right? And you know, a lot of times when I talk about what's happening in Trinidad and Tobago, in terms of how we run the country,
industrial climate.
not the industrial climate, how we run the country and the kind of problems we have here.
Yeah.
I think about HRIS systems and what HRIS systems do. And what
Correct.
HRIS systems do for those large companies with 600,000 and 700,000 people.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
Like those big clothes stores and thing in the US, Walmart and all those places, right? Big companies like Huawei and you know all these companies. These companies have systems where they are able to manage in every single sector or in every single region, and at the touch of a button know what the performance of X employee is and you know that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And the thing is, if we could just not miniaturize, but if we could just take a system like that, and expose it for the to run in the country. And we, you know, I was on a webinar one time with Philip Alexander and Robert Montano and those kind of guys. And Montano was saying that a country is not a organization.
Yeah.
And you can't really run a country like a business. And he's right. You can't really run a country like a business for all the reasons we spoke about earlier on with respect to government, state-owned and that kind of thing. Because, I mean, business is in business for business. Friedman said that.
Yeah.
But a country resources is to be divided equitably for the betterment of the people. Right? And so it's a different thing. It's the country not on profit, but they on efficiency. It should be efficiency and effectiveness and that kind of thing, like places like Singapore and that. And it should still also be guided by a particular strategy. And not a strategy in 5 years or 10 years or whatever. A long-term strategy like China and all these places. This is how these places became very, very successful. So the thing is, I always think about systems like that to run Trinidad and Tobago, and sometimes it's sad to think about a country, to think about it like that, but I mean that's how my mind works, right?
I could understand that.
I like efficiency. I like, you will always have problems, you will always have issues, but if you have a rubric to fix it, to solve it, it will be easier to deal with than if you're just helter-skelter all about with all kind of different issues and bureaucracy and all kind of different things. You will not get the best. You will not, certainly the way how government is structured, you will not get the best people to do, because first you can't pay for the best people.
Correct.
You're not willing to pay. You heard somebody who was just talking about how much Selwyn Kojo getting.
Yeah.
Right? You can't pay for that.
You can't.
Right? Especially if your expectation is zero. You're not profit. You will have a problem paying for that.
Of course.
So you're not going to get the best. You're not going to get a Steve Matheson or a Seymour.
Correct.
Because you can't pay for that.
See, the compensation philosophy is important.
Right? Everything, not just the compensation philosophy. Everything. The frustrator, you will be frustrated. Listen, anyway, let me just say this. I might get in trouble for saying what I'm going to say, what I want to say. But what I'm saying is, we really need to structure this thing so that people would understand, especially HR people would understand what their rules are in business.
I mean, you had to have a real strong back, because it's not paper pushing at all. People will walk over you to get their way. And sometimes they force you to be in positions where, you know, they say, okay, well, this is what we're going to do. You are instructed to do this. If you don't do it, you lost your work.
Yeah, you remember the lady was talking about a situation where someone's her boss tell her, it's either you fire this person or I fire you.
Yep.
And that was kind of like my reality.
It's a hard reality. And I mean, I am still saying, so while the duty is to be there to fight and to battle, at what point does it stop? At what point does executives understand the implications of these things?
Well, first, executive have to have the capacity to understand it. And if they don't, a lot of people go to school and some of them get MBA is a thing given away now.
Of course.
Right?
Everybody have one.
So everybody have an MBA.
Doesn't make you special.
And it doesn't make you special. If I come out of university without an MBA, but I could critically think I get the world of knowledge.
Yeah. But
right?
the letters is what is respected.
The letters is what is respected. And you ever come to my office?
Yes.
Right. You ever see any degree hang up on any wall in my office? No. That's not important to me. What is important to me?
Service you provide.
Not just that. What is important to me is the ability to think.
Yeah.
Think through things.
You don't have to prove that.
I don't have to prove that or no MBA or no masters or no PhD or nothing like that. Right? I must be able to think.
Yeah.
And if I could think through things and I could express that, communicating it, however,
yeah.
I am rich. Right?
Correct.
And so the thing is, in Trinidad and Tobago, we have a lot of people with degrees. All kind of degree, all kind of thing they get. Ask them 3 years after to if they even remember anything they cram for to pass the exam, they don't.
Correct.
Worse yet, to put it
Correct.
to functionalize it or to make it put it in practical terms to solve a problem. They can't. And that's the problem. So what we end up with a lot in organizations are square pegs in wrong holes. And that's the problem. That's one of the problems in Trinidad. Right? We can't get away from that. Right?
Correct.
In most large organizations, some of which I've worked for in multinational organizations, they don't recruit. Listen, I don't want to call the name of the company, but one night I sit down in my office. This is during COVID.
Right.
I sat down in my office because I am a late person in the office sometimes. And I got a call from someone, French sounding lady. And she said that she was on LinkedIn, and my profile on LinkedIn is not impressive. I haven't
You haven't updated for that while.
No. I haven't updated my LinkedIn profile in quite a while. And in any case, it's not really impressive.
Yeah.
And she said that we were she's a headhunter, and she was looking to recruit somebody to consult for a multinational company. And she wanted to know if I was willing to be part of that group of people.
Yeah.
And I said I have no problem, but I said it reluctantly because it wasn't the first time I worked for a multinational, but I know how demanding it is sometimes.
Yeah.
And she said it is more or less virtual work and that kind of thing. And I was impressed by the pains at which they went. A company from as far as China went to recruit somebody from the Caribbean to consult in areas that are operation in Trinidad and Tobago, Jamaica, Puerto Rico, Guyana, and Suriname. And they wanted somebody to not manage that, but they wanted somebody to do some specific things in that. And if you know what their recruiting process was, it was very tedious.
Wow.
It was very scientific.
Wow.
All of this to say that I was selected as the person
Wow.
at the end of the day. I went through about 10 different segments of the interview, including Chinese-speaking people and that kind of thing, all online. But I think the hardest part was what you're willing to take as payment. Maybe I guess that's probably why I probably got it, because mine was probably the lowest.
Yeah.
But the thing is, they were very, very strategic in what they look, and scientific.
Wow.
And they check everything. And we don't do that in Trinidad. But why I say that is recruitment is a very expensive exercise. So why will you go through all of that?
Absolutely.
And then after 2 weeks or 2 months, you don't like how she walking, you don't like how she talking back to you, you don't like how, and you want to terminate her.
Thank you.
How much sense that making?
Not a lot of sense at all.
And
because they are not the ones that's answering these questions in industrial court.
That is the nature of business in Trinidad and Tobago. We look for our performance management, our performance appraisals to a large extent, and I'm talking about that subset of performance management, to a large extent is very is very subjective.
Of course.
Right? And as you know, that is one of the things that is certainly a no-no in managing performance. Right?
Cannot be subjective.
How do you measure my attitude?
That's correct. We spoke about that in our last session. How do you manage attitude as part of performance management?
Yeah, how do you manage my attitude?
And besides, it's only taking up about 25% of the performance appraisal form.
You can't manage that in the first place.
You can't.
Right?
Because you cannot force somebody to, if your version of being a team player is joining everybody else to have drinks on a Friday, you cannot force people to have drinks.
So in one place, I see they wanted to fire a woman because she didn't attend a Christmas party.
That's all right. If she don't want to mix with people, then what is the problem? Is that affecting her work? That she
or they want to fire next one because she talking to people who they think, or they are saying that those people are political. Maybe you shouldn't be talking to them. And if you see her talking to them,
so we encouraging isolation.
Yeah, all of that. That's toxic. That is toxicity in the organization. You don't do that.
Very toxic.
And leaders who encourage that have no right being leaders in an organization.
That's correct. But you know what I realized too? Those types of leaders are the quote-unquote stars, or they perform well in their department. So, people feel as though they don't want to mess with this person too much because they're bringing in the numbers.
Those kind of leaders are weak leaders.
Of course they are.
Right?
Of course they are.
Stupid leaders. But anyway, we've said a lot. And
but this is HR. This is what HR.
Yeah, these are the things that we do on a daily basis.
Yeah.
And certainly, if you have an issue, if you want this time of, you might want to call us. It's 342-0081 or 466-5391. Call us. Let's have a discussion.
Share your thoughts.
Share your thoughts on and we've spoken about a lot of things. As I was saying just before we went on the break, I am a student of geopolitics. I immerse myself to a large extent in what's happening out there in Iran, in the US, in Ukraine, in Russia, and how all these things are going to affect us, how to a large extent they are shaping our reality in Trinidad and Tobago, and to a large extent what it means, what is happening there, and what it means for the global economy, what it means for Trinidad and Tobago, and how things will ultimately affect us. And certainly I'm seeing some really strange, well, I wouldn't say strange development, but some really some developments. You remember America tried very hard for years to isolate Iran. They did the same with Cuba, and they did the same with Venezuela. It worked to some extent in Venezuela because they brought the people, they divided the people in Venezuela to a large extent, and And they created what we call the Chavistas.
Yeah.
And after that, what happened is that they break the Venezuelan government to the extent that, well, it ended with they coming and taking Maduro and accusing him of all kind of different things.
And he's still in jail.
Yeah. But what they did to be able to do that, they made him a narco criminal.
Yeah.
Which is what they usually do.
Yeah.
Right? And they even had people in Trinidad saying the man was a narco criminal. To date, they can't prosecute him as yet. But we will see how that goes. But the same thing they did, or they tried to do with Cuba. They wasn't able to break Cuba for years. And we now see that China has come to the rescue of Cuba and given them the gas and that kind of thing that they need to run their economy. And they may not succeed conclusively to break Cuba in the way they break Venezuela. But they're trying the same playbook on Iran.
Wow.
It is certainly not working because they thought that they could have just gone in Iran, killed the leaders, and
take their oil and whatever.
Destabilize Iran. It didn't work. As a matter of fact, it did the opposite. So now what they are trying is a kind of economic strangulation,
right?
Which, for that to work, it will have to take about 10 years from now for that to work. Trump will not be in office. He probably might be dead by then, and that too, for that to work in 10 years, will have to have all things will have to be equal. What we are seeing is one of the countries that was strongly opposed to Iran, which is Saudi Arabia, because Iran has told all those countries in the Middle East there, listen, if you go ahead and you allow your state to be a vassal state to the US, we will bomb you if we are bombed by if America. That is where most of the oil come from, or the energy come from over the world. So if Iran is going to destabilize the Middle East, the better thing might be to do is to appease Iran. Do what you have to do. That is the Middle Eastern countries to appease Iran, which is what we seem to be seeing now. Because what we're seeing is now there's a NATO sort alliance between Saudi Arabia, Pakistan, which is joined by about a 300-kilometer border with Iran, and Turkey.
Right.
Turkey, who is now having some problem with Israel, because this whole thing is about Israel.
It's about Israel.
so now you have a very dangerous alliance for which it is alleged that Iran is invited to join. We don't know how that. I don't know how that's going to work.
Wow.
Because there's some fundamental differences in ideology.
Correct.
With Iran and Turkey,
others,
and to some extent Saudi Arabia.
But that's problems for America because America is giving.
But it's problems
Israel.
for America. You see that Operation Outcast that America launched sometime yesterday? That is not going to work in the way America hoped for it to work, because China has already said that they are not going to be part of that. They have their own strategic national interests, and they are going to pursue that, which is, if we buy now, we getting our oil and gas and thing from Iran, you can't stop us from buying our oil and gas from Iran. And in any case, they don't need much of that anyway. But China have almost 90% of the processing of rare earth material, and America will suffer tremendously. Should they go ahead with this. And this is geopolitics 101, because all of these things, we had to understand all of these things in Trinidad and Tobago too. Because these things will certainly put our economy in some kind of depression. In terms of inflation, in terms of everything, because everything is connected in the world. And if you do understand that, you just need to sit down and look and see what will happen in the next few months.
And I think with all of these things happening globally, And I just want to shift just for a short moment in terms of all the seismic activity that's happening, because we had a small earthquake today we had one after 10 last night, and then another one during the course of the day. So you're looking at all the global situations, including those natural disaster type occurrences. And my question remains, what is being put in place instead of slinging around racial slurs, the back and forth bacchanal? To me, these are the things that need to take forefront, because we are still in the wet hurricane season.
Well, clearly
we don't have a plan. What is the plan?
Clearly, that is not high on the agenda for.
And this
the
is
US.
ridiculous.
Remember, the U.S. the U.S. is a dying hegemon, right? And anybody who understand a little geopolitics will tell you that. Will know that, right? You notice a lot of countries like China and all these places are now holding their gold, buying gold, because if the U.S. is able to print money and carrying that kind of debt in the terms of trillion, the U.S. pays $1 trillion in debts, in interest to service their debts every year.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
So if everybody holding your money and eventually it will be worth nothing because it's backed by nothing, then that should tell you where in the next few, with this move that they make with Operation Outcast or whatever, how that is going to work against America. They seem to be only people who don't know how to work against them. When everybody is fighting, tripping over themselves to find ways to trade among themselves without the U.S.
intervention. So I guess their strategies were just invasion and claiming
drugs. Well, of course, but they tell you that. But that's not a secret. They tell you that. They tell you that their strategy is strengthening the war machine and selling people dreams with war machines and that kind of thing. That certainly the world, Iran, China and Russia have shown them that it's working.
Weapons.
Right? They have weapons. That's China now has weapons that would vaporize them carriers out in the sea, make them carriers useless. Right?
But the fact that they are, apart from having their weaponry, they are utilizing and strengthening their relationships, whilst the other party seems to be messing up relationships.
Yes, because they still living in the 60s. They still feel have that kind of strength without even knowing that it go on.
I think relationships is the name of the game.
It's like a man who Al Coxstar moving around and he think he could service everything, and one day realize you're treating and nothing happening. Cock and stand up.
You cannot say those things.
I talking about the foul.
These are not the views of the Street 91.9.
Just
oh my God! But figuratively.
No, but the thing is, that's America.
Yeah.
They didn't realize the laws are already. They're not important. They're not important like that again. But it's not so much not important. They are important. They still have strength.
It's just other people are finding different strategies.
It's just that it is diminishing, and they haven't realized how far gone they are in terms of that diminishing strength that they seem to be projecting. You're just projecting things, but
times ahead.
But anyway, maybe ahead of the listeners, and I don't want to go so far ahead. But a lot is happening.
A lot is happening.
People in Trinidad and Tobago need to wake up out of the dream.
Oh yes.
The sleep, the slumber.
As we don't know what 2027 is going to look like. I'm just sticking to from a national perspective, the amount of jobs that's been lost, the impact of what is happening societally. I wonder about 2027, what that year is going to look like for us. And I think it's about time, it's a good time to revisit, are we in a better place now versus under the last administration?
Personally,
I think it's a good time to ask that question. You may not have all the answers, but 2 years was given. You know, and we cannot, in all fairness, we can't continue to say, well, give them a chance. We've given 2 years of chances.
I think
if we can look at it from an objective perspective, this is not a bashing.
I want to look at it. This is a cricket
what has
show.
improved?
This is
what
a cricket
has improved?
show, and I think a lot has improved. If I am to say talk for the government, I think a lot has improved. I am seeing a lot of things, initiatives that are taking place that certainly are going in the right direction. Now, a lot of people wouldn't agree with me because they're not looking at the same thing I am looking at.
Yeah.
But, you know, certain legislations that were passed to deal with... You see, crime is... Listen, if we don't deal with crime, if we can't get crime under thing, we will not have an economy any way we thinking.
Absolutely.
And what the government seems to be doing is they are doing everything. They're putting all these stuff out to deal with that. And that's a good thing. Right? There are persons who may not agree with that, but you're seeing it. And you're seeing it in the numbers too. Right? You remember, it was 630 something murders in 2024, just before the PNM got out of office. And it increased. It wasn't even exponential. It increased gradually because it started off high and it ended up high. Right. From 2015.
Yeah.
What we're seeing now is a downward movement. Significant too.
And we have to keep emphasizing that you wouldn't see a 100% drop, but if you just look at statistics alone, again, this is an objective conversation. So that is one score on the board for the government.
Right.
The batting side.
But more than that, they have passed certain significant pieces of legislation to ensure that happens. So one may complain about the state of emergency, but how has it affected you? How has it affected the law-abiding citizen?
Right? I think there's still, we can't get away from the issues that Trinbagonians are going to have, the little peacock and the weaving in and the weaving out. We cannot get away from that, you know, because there's one thing to say, well, they're spying on everybody and all of these things. But in my view, what will be the alternative option? You know, what are you bringing across? I think they need to work on their communication. I think the government needs to work on that because there are times where they will put out some information. The Prime Minister will make a statement, but then there are members of her government or even the commissioner that may say something a little different, almost as if they don't know what she said. Not to say that they are directly opposing. It almost sounds as if not everybody paying attention in class. So the communication is one. I think for me, they will need to work on the professionalism, the image, the optics of how the government carries and presents themselves. Personally, I think that there are particular characters they will need to put a leash on. That's what I'm saying. We have to have a situation where people respect the word of the government, not being one where you can expect people to curse you out and embarrass you on social media and these things. To me, some of these ethics need to be discussed. You are in government. There is no need for you to be jumping on social media like the regular citizen and cursing people out.
Well,
that does not look good.
You know, everybody have their own idiosyncrasies and their own way of doing things and that kind of thing. I have my way of doing things. Some people don't like it, but that's my way. Right? The thing is, what I do, there was a man who he wasn't really saying much to me. But over the last few days, I've grown to respect him. Right? So sometimes it's not necessarily how bright or how much degrees you have or whatever. It's what you bring to the table. And I've seen, you see this diffusion of these gangs and that kind of thing. I'm seeing Roger Alexander doing some things and being part of some initiatives that I really
step in the right direction.
I really applaud. I
it's
think
commendable.
They seem to be going in the right direction with certain things, and they're getting you see, in my opinion, the government would have lost some goodwill when they got in office. Because they made a lot of promises that persons felt, well, I knew from the get-go that they were they were not really realistic, but they will have to do certain other things for it to happen.
Yeah.
And we are seeing that they are trying to do it, but we are also seeing, and everybody with sense would know that Trinidad and Tobago is not in a good place economically. It's not in a good place. It wasn't left in a good place. It wasn't.
The other administration said that.
They said that, right?
Yeah.
It is just that people say, we say it all the time here, you know, sometimes you're looking to get a girl and you tell she all kind of thing. To get, and when she gets, she realizes it's not that. But the thing is, they take a gamble. It worked for them. They win the election. So now they're trying to solve the problem in the way that they think is best to solve it. And some people may not like it. But we're seeing performance. We're seeing some things happen. Right? Everybody wouldn't say what I'm saying. Or mightn't be able to see it in the way I seen it. But clearly you've seen it in some numbers. You just spoke about it. And that 3.5 more years.
So, okay. Now, we could say fairly that there is some performance or some measure of performance. There are also some serious issues in terms of public trust and confidence in their operations. What about the bowling side? How do we feel about their role as the opposition? Almost 2 years in, are they doing a good job?
Well, I have my thoughts on that, but I would like to hear your thoughts first, because I have a lot to say about that.
No. My answer to that is no.
I'd like to hear the public thoughts on that.
Yeah, it would be helpful, because while you would want to rate the government, remember the opposition has a duty to bring reasonable arguments and critiques in support, of democracy for the country. That is their role. They would not just opposing for opposing's sake, but really evaluating the actions of the government and being able to say, no, we do not agree because X, Y, and Z.
I don't know if you might be too young to remember. You might have been a little girl going to school and you might not remember this. But Basdio Pandey once called, I think it was Patrick Manning, when he took office, and Patrick Manning said they would have done XYZ if they had this, and he called them the woulda, shoulda, shoulda government.
I know about that.
Right. But that's kind of like what I'm hearing from the exponents of the PNM. And it really song. Maybe they should just stay quiet, because the song is kind of embarrassing in a kind of way. Let's take this call. Caller, good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Mr. Matheson, Mr. Maria.
Good evening.
I mean, we learned so much just listening to you all, your different experiences and so on that you had. I think the government right now kind of, very disconnected from the ground. If since last year you knew that you were leaving up, let me just deal with one issue at a time. You're leaving up the North Stands, right? Now, you didn't have the fireworks, the celebration last year, but you want to have it this year. Couldn't you find somewhere that you wouldn't have to be doing that to the savannah and going closer to the zoo and things like that? I mean, look much, I don't know if you all know, but like if you go up Chancellor after fireworks and so on, there's meet so much of dead birds up Chancellor, right? And if you look around on the road, you meet so much of dead dogs. Dogs will just run out of people's yard and just go crazy running. You mentioned you didn't want it last year, but the people who love the Diwali celebration, nothing wrong in that, wanted the fireworks, so now you can't say no to the independence, right? When most countries have already moved away from the move to the noiseless and beautiful fireworks. You understand? Why is it we can't move in that direction? Why do we still have to come with some of the normal fireworks, right? And then why we have to spend so much money to do that there? Couldn't we find a place that we could do it in a better way? You understand?
Yeah, that's a good point. That's an excellent point.
You know, and they're doing things without consulting. There's no connection with the people, you know. There's no connection with the people and the manner that they do things and the remarks that come from some of them. You know, the remarks that come from some of them is like if you're a vengeance them. You understand? You know, they are so totally disconnected from the people. Look at the roads. We have grown accustomed to just move Dutching holes and doing this and doing. Look at the condition of our roads. You understand? It's ridiculous. And I heard Julian John in the yearly review, they patch so much of holes this here and there and thing, and you still have so much of holes in the road long before the election, and it's worse now. You understand? I don't understand where, I mean, what they're really talking about, you know, and they really need, Mr. Matheson, they really need some consultancy, boy.
The government doesn't have, you know, one of the things I've learned, and I said it on this program, the government does not have the capacity or the system doesn't have the capacity to accept what we could give. So you don't want to throw pearls to swines, right? It's just not going to work in this governance system. But
and then, go ahead.
It's not going to work. But you said something, and you know, I was telling Seymour on this program. I remembered just last year for independence. I was in San Diego for independence, U.S. independence, 4th of July, and I went and looked at the fireworks in the back of a convention center. And, you know, like thousands of people were there just to view the fireworks. But it was over the sea.
Right.
It was over the sea. So I don't know if we could find a way to change that reality in Trinidad and Tobago. But then again,
because
it doesn't have
there was
much
some suggestion they could have do it on the foreshore, you understand?
Right.
Or some kind of thing like that. You know, we have to use a place and have it more accessible.
But
to
you could imagine the logistics. If they decide to do it on the foreshore, which might be the best place to do it. The logistics to get there,
to go there and to get back from there.
To even see that, you know, that would be difficult. So it's something that we had a.
But look what happened with the Savannah. I remember a year we were stuck in traffic for hours to get out from the Savannah. You understand?
Yeah.
Right up to Lady Young Road traffic, right down the roads out of Porterspin Road traffic. You understand? I mean, but it's ridiculous to go and spend that kind of money and do that type of injustice. I mean, it's the Savannah, but still, oh gosh, why did we have to do that? You know what I mean?
Correct.
You know, you see, they need human to have these type of consultancy and people to advise them. You know, and the comments that they make, our leaders make is ridiculous. You understand? They need to just rock back and either just do nothing, do like dummy, like Williams, they should call him. Just don't respond to certain things if you know you're going to say something that out of the way. You know? Boy, it's a shame. We're in a very bad way. We're in a very, very bad way. And I mean, I know you all don't really want to highlight certain things that really hit in rock bottom, but they are very disconnected from the ground.
Yes,
you understand?
I would agree with you.
If them call an election, they can, and a third party could surface, they can win the election.
Well,
you understand?
This may be a topic for another day because we are out of time right now. We just have a few seconds counting down, and I want to say good evening to all of Trinidad and Tobago and those who are listening to us. Share the live. You can always access this show on YouTube on the IWER station. and it's
See
the
you
third
Thursday.
umpire. So see you tomorrow.
Yeah, all the
You've
best,
got
yeah, man.
bills to pay, and so do we. Let's go pay some